We're pleased to welcome Holly Holmes, who works for Google out of the Washington, D.C. office. And we're looking forward to learning more about Google and what it's like to work for such an influential company. And so I'd like to welcome Ms. Holmes and invite you guys to text questions to me as you are participating in our Hangout. And let us know what you wonder about the world of work with a highly engaging and fast-paced tech company. Good morning, Ms. Holmes. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, everyone. I'm really excited to be here today. As Ms. Glenn said, I work at Google, and I work on the business side of Google in our advertising. So I have a short presentation to give. I welcome questions during it, interruptions, engagement. That's what we really like to do at Google, is collaborate with people. So feel free to interrupt me, but I'm going to go ahead and kick that off and give you a little taste of what it's like to work at Google.
Thank you. And we have some folks who are here on site watching, and then we will probably have remote viewers join us. And then, of course, this will be available for playback.
So what is it like to work at Google? One of the most important tenets of our company is to focus on the user, and all else will follow. And what that means is we really want people who use our products, whether it be search or YouTube, or Ms. Glenn was telling me about the newly launched Classroom product, if you're using Gmail, we want to make sure that our users love our products. And that is where we focus on everything that we do. How will it affect the user? So can anyone tell me what is a Google? Give a couple minutes to see if anybody has the answer.
I don't see any text.
Ms. Glenn, do you know what a Google is?
You know, it is a very large number. Is it a million?
It is a 1 followed by 100 zeros.
Oh my goodness, much bigger.
Yes. And so the founders of our company are named Larry and Sergey. And when they were in college, they started the search engine, and they love math. And so the name of our company, Google, is a play on this word, Google. So I'm going to show you a quick video about one of our central products that I do a lot of work in, search.
Here's what gives us hope. The world knows how to fight this disease.
Here we go. Ready?
Just rendezvousing with this comet is an extraordinary thing. We're going to make discoveries that no one's imagined yet.
So that's a video that we put out every year. We try to put in the highlights of what people were searching on through, that's 2014's video, since 2015 hasn't ended yet, but if you want to see the 2015 video, look for it in early January. And because search is such a powerful tool for our company, the way that we support it, instead of charging users like you when you want to ask a question on google.com, is we support that product through advertising. And let's see if I can advance my slides here. There we go. So what I've done here is I've mocked up what a search ad looks like. And if you've done a search on Google, I'm sure you've seen them before. And they're labeled with that little yellow ad. And so I mocked up what you might need to know to be able to work at Google. And the most important thing is data-driven decision-making. You really need to know your numbers. And some of the things that I do in my job regularly is calculate ROI. ROI means return on investment. So advertisers who spend money on marketing, they want to know how much money they're able to make off of the spend that they give us to pay for their ads. What I also do is I recommend bids to people. So the way that search works in terms of advertising is an advertiser will pick a keyword like data-driven. They'll put in a bid that goes into an auction, and if they win the auction, they get to serve their ad to users who are searching for terms related to data-driven. And I also do things like forecast revenue and model profit for our advertisers so that they can have an idea of what they'll get when they invest with us on our search platforms. And the motto of working at Google is to do cool things that matter. So here's a question that I was asked during my interview process when I applied to work at Google. How many Christmas trees could you sell in Manhattan this year? So I'm going to pose this question out to the audience, and what kinds of information do you think you'd have to know in order to answer this question?
I have one answer that says how many people there are in Manhattan.
Yes, that is definitely a very important data point. What's something else you might need to know in order to come up with an answer to this question? And just so everyone knows, there is no right answer to this question. The point of it is to see how you think about it. And I was talking to Ms. Glenn last night about math and how important it is in my everyday job. And we were talking about how writing out the solution is really important when you're in school so that you can show how you got to your answer. And that is very true in my job because there is no right answer to this, but we have to come to an educated guess of what something like this might be. And that'll help us determine how much money we can invest, maybe where we put up shop to sell Christmas trees, trends over time, things like that. And so it's really about how you think.
Okay, we have a couple more folks who have texted in. One suggestion was we might need to know how many people in Manhattan need a Christmas tree. And another viewer says that we would need to know how many people celebrate Christmas.
Yes, both really great answers. You guys are on the right track of how you would answer this question. And so just to give you a very high level idea of how I approach this question is I used a lot of the same examples that you guys gave, which is if we make certain assumptions about how many people live in Manhattan, then we would make another assumption about what percentage of those people might buy a Christmas tree. And then we would make some more assumptions about how much coverage, that's a word that we use a lot, we could get in Manhattan. So there'll be some competition, of course. So how much of the market can we reach? And then you'll use some other factors, trends over time, how many Christmas trees were sold last year and the year previously? Are there any seasonality trends that we can see about at what point in the season people buy trees? Is there anything that we could do from a marketing effort to make people more interested in buying trees and things like that? And so you discuss those ideas and come to an answer. And those are the kinds of
people just said that. They said, how popular are Christmas trees at the time that you're asking the question? I suppose in April, maybe not so much.
Yes, absolutely. So I wanted to share a couple of qualifications for my specific job at Google. And so some of these are to be AdWords certified. AdWords is our advertising platform. It's like a database that you can use to set up ad campaigns and enter in those bids that I was talking about and see what your return on investment is. You really have to be able to strategically think and analyze. You have to have high productivity, be able to meet deadlines. So there's not a lot of turning papers in late here at Google. You have to be able to use spreadsheets. So if you guys use Excel a lot, and also use presentation tools. So either PowerPoint, or if you use Google products, you can use Google Sheets. And then you have to have excellent business sense, problem solving, project management, and analytical skills. So you can see that a lot of these are very math related and math focused.
So I do have a question from one of our viewers about your role then with Google.
Yes.
And I want to know what makes your role special, or what is the importance of someone in your position in a company like Google or for your customers?
Definitely. Well, thanks for that question. So my role at Google is I'm called an account manager. And like I said, I work with our advertisers to help them with their digital marketing. The advertisers that I work with are what we call advocacy groups. And so these are groups that want to change public opinion about certain things. So you may have heard of some of them, like the Truth Campaign, that are trying to stop smoking for particularly teens. There's the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which is a very large business organization. I also represent and work with PETA, which is an animal rights group. We work with clients all the way from the NRA to Planned Parenthood. And what all of these advertisers are trying to do is reach users who are interested in what their ideas are, and they're hoping to sway public opinion one way or another. So if a user is already searching for, let's say with PETA, animal rights, PETA can put an ad on the search results page and have users come to their website and read more about the work that they're doing. Or they might also put an ad on YouTube. We do a lot of YouTube advertising, which I'm sure that you all are familiar with. My favorite product is the one where you can have the skip button, and if you don't want to see the ad, you can skip through it right after 5 seconds. We call that our True View product, so that we know that any users who decided to keep watching the ad, they were really viewing that ad and they were showing real interest in whatever our advertiser was trying to tell them. And we'll also do lots of really what we call strategic targeting. So we can, on display sites, so like news sites or blogs, or even shopping sites, we can show ads to users who have a demonstrated interest in something based on their web behavior. So if you read a lot of articles about sports, we would classify you as a sports enthusiast. And if one of our advertisers was really interested in reaching you because they had a great product related to sports, then we could show ads to you in the auction. And I think the most important thing for Google is that a lot of our products are free. So you might be familiar with Gmail and YouTube and search. We have a lot of documents that you can use, and we have places where we aggregate news articles and Google Scholar, photos. All of these products we don't charge our users for, and so we really have to support all of this work in another way. And we do that through our advertising. So money is very important in running a business, and that is how Google primarily makes money, is through advertising. We also sell some products like phones and Chromebooks and things like that, but advertising is a very strong focus in Google on the business side.
Now, I have a viewer who asked why you chose to work with Google, or why you chose this career.
Yeah, that's a great question. So Google kind of chose me. I had a friend who worked at Google who knew of an open position that she thought I would be really good for. So she recommended me to the manager, and he reached out to me and told me a little bit more about the job and asked if I would be interested in doing it. And I said, sure. And a lot of things that appealed to me about Google was that it is fast-paced. things are always changing here. And so you're always being intellectually stimulated, and you have to keep up to date on all of the products that are happening and launches, and you get to learn other people's businesses and try to do a lot of problem solving. And I really enjoy that. My job is very different from day to day. I probably solve between 5 and 25 problems for people, and I get a lot of satisfaction out of that. And so that is probably the biggest reason why I love working at Google.
Very good.
Cool. So I'm going to show you this video of somebody who works on our IT team, another Googler who works in a totally different role at the company.
Sometimes when you believe that a certain strategy or direction's been set within Google IT, something changes within the company. Our requirements are different because Google moves so fast that as an IT organization within Google, we have to also move just as quickly. Usually it starts off with something all Googlers love to do is let's solve a problem, right? And so whether it's a software engineer or an accountant sitting in the same room and maybe an analyst such as myself, you all start whiteboarding and figuring out what the best way to fix that problem is.
One of the things that's fantastic at Google is we have an incredible team behind the scenes. They build the fastest networks, they build the best wireless, they build real products to solve needs. They do real engineering.
We're constantly being challenged to build systems that are greater, more redundant, that your typical organizations and your typical off-the-shelf systems don't offer. Some of our senior management highly touts that. They want that type of non-traditional IT growth to happen where you bleed into the product and you bleed into the solutions that we provide to our customers. We had an opportunity to work very closely with the product team at Google Fiber. And part of the solution that we delivered was highly integrated into the product that's going into people's homes in Kansas City today.
Google Fiber says, what would happen if every user actually had a gigabit bi-directional to their house? How would that change the world?
We actually had an opportunity after deploying the system and launching it to see our hard work actually light up these homes and become such an integral part of this product that we deliver to this customer. One of my first experiences at Google was walking into my first few meetings and sitting down and thinking it was going to be like any other traditional company. And what I found just amazing, what really opened my eyes, was that the caliber of people sitting at that table and the discussions that we had was something I hadn't had in 15 years prior to my career at Google. It was inspiring, it was innovative, we were constantly talking about new ways to make things better. I see things move so much quicker here. Large objects, large obstacles are just picked up and moved out of the way. You just feel like you can get more done.
So I heard a rumor that there might be a giveaway during this session.
Yes.
And I'm sure it's going to be you're giving away Google Fiber, right?
I wish. That is what we call a beta product. And a beta product is something that is still in testing. And betas tend to roll out quickly so that we can learn all of the problems, fix them, and then continue to roll them out. So you heard in the video that Fiber is in Kansas City, and I believe we've expanded it to a few others. And the goal, of course, is to expand Google Fiber across the country and across the world so that everyone can have the fastest internet possible. So unfortunately, I won't have that in the Google swag bag, but I'll have some other fun things.
I have a few questions if you're up to take some.
Yes, I'd love to.
Rolling in. Okay. First thing is somebody asks where you went to college and what was your major?
I went to Duke University and my major was English. And I will tell you that a lot of people will say there's no use for an English major. What are you going to do? But having an English major is very important. I have to document both internally and externally a lot of information, and being able to write concisely and clearly and explain your thought process is very important, both when you're trying to let upper management know how you're being successful, as well as when you're trying to explain to clients how you came to a recommendation that you're offering them.
Okay. And, you know, I didn't tell everybody who's viewing that my connection to Ms. Holmes is that I was actually her calculus teacher. And so not only did she study a lot of English, but she actually has pretty strong mathematical background as well, which we've already seen a glimpse of how that has helped her too in this field.
Definitely.
Another person asks, what impact your job makes on the community And what are your daily duties?
Sure. So let me start with my daily duties first. That one might be a little bit easier to answer, or at least a quicker answer. So typically when I get in the morning, I check my email and I see if any of my advertisers have any questions for me. And the kinds of questions I'll get is if they have any problems with their ads, if their budgets ran out, if they want to launch a new campaign and they want some ideas about who should they target, how much should they spend, should they run a national campaign, or should they run just in DC? And so I get a lot of questions from my advertising clients that I want to get to as quickly as possible, because that will help them make informed decisions. Another part of my job is working with my teammates. I work on a team of 7 people with an additional at least 20 support people that I can call on at any point in time when I need their help. And I need to keep in good contact with these people, have a really good communication, open communication, know what they're working on, what's on their plates, and how I can help them. And so things that I might do for my colleagues is to pull reports or to read what we call communications documents on our products, so that I can explain how our products work and why they might be good for one of our advertisers. And then I also have a lot of data management that I need to do. We have an internal system that would be familiar to how you might keep your grades. And so I have to document the meetings that I have with clients, what we discussed, how much money they could potentially spend with us, how confident am I that they might actually spend that. And then I also have to keep track of the campaigns that are running and make sure that they are spending the amount of money they're supposed to, and also getting the advertising performance that we expect. If they're not getting those things, then I have to go into campaigns, optimize them, whether that's be rewrite ad copy or increase or decrease bids or add extensions to their ads, and all number of things. So I'm sure you can see that I'm pretty busy when I'm here at work. I don't have a lot of time to do much other things than focus on the tasks at hand. And in terms of the impact that I have on the community, Google is really great in that we're able to devote 20% of our time to a passion project. And funnily enough, I just came back from one of my, it's from a vacation where I went cage diving with great white sharks. And that is my passion project. And there is a group called the Marine Conservation Science Institute. And they are doing a lot of research with great white sharks, and they document their migration patterns to and from Guadalupe Island off the coast of Mexico. And they have an account with us that is part of our grants accounts. And a grant account is when Google will serve media for a nonprofit company for free. And I volunteer with them to help them run their AdWords campaigns and help them get donations so that they have the funding they need to continue their research. And so that's something that's very important and special to me that I get to do. And outside of that, I think that my job, working specifically with advocacy clients, I really help influence different ideas and help my clients reach people who are interested in their mission. And I think that that is really important in our society, especially these days. There's a lot of social interest in issues with our police force and with the Congress and the election that's coming up. A lot of talk about, where do we want to move as a country? And my advertisers are doing things in that arena, and so I get to be part of that, which is really cool.
Wow, and I just thought that was a cool vacation that you're supposed to take pictures of. I remember seeing that you got to help identify and name a new species of shark to that island you were visiting.
Yes, well, not a new species, but a new shark to the island. So this group, they track and keep a record of the individual sharks that come to the island. And by doing that, they're able to know if the great white shark population in the Pacific is healthy, and having healthy sharks, which are the apex predator, help maintain balance in the ocean. And so they do a lot of great work tracking them, making sure They'll document if a female is pregnant, and so then they can know how many pregnant sharks have showed up at the island. And it's very cool, the work that they do. If you're interested in biology, I recommend you check out their website. It's mcsi.org.
That's pretty cool. And that was part of your job that you got to go on that trip, huh?
Well, yes. I mean, I paid for that out of pocket, but all of the research work that I get to do, I get to log as part of my job, which is cool.
Yeah, and a great connection. You know, an average person wouldn't necessarily know how to engage with a group like that. So that's pretty neat. Yeah. Somebody did ask whether you do a lot of traveling for work.
I do. I travel a lot. I go to California quite often. I've been to Dallas. I've been to Seattle. I've been to Los Angeles. Well, I said California. The cities that I've been to are Los Angeles. I'm going to Anaheim this coming March. I've been to San Francisco quite a number of times, and Oakland, California. I have also been to New York, and I'm going to Florida next month. So there is a lot of opportunity to travel, and I haven't done any international travel for work, but that is a possibility. One thing that Google also offers is what we call rotations, and you can take 3 months. You apply for it, and if you're accepted into the program, you can spend 3 months at another office anywhere in the world and get to work on a special project during that time.
That's pretty cool. I have 2 more questions that are unrelated to the vein we've been on. First is someone's intrigued by your English major and wonders, what's your favorite book?
Oh. What is my favorite book? I think my favorite book, still even to this day, and it's been a long time, is As I Lay Dying by William Faulkner. Because the first time I read that book, I thought the way the chapters were organized was very interesting. And if you haven't read that book before, each chapter is told from the point of view of a member of a family. And the family has an issue that they're dealing with. And you get to see all of their perspectives that slowly unravels the complex relationships in their lives. And I've always loved that book for the way that it's told.
Neat. All right, and then somebody wonders, based on things that they've seen and videos and even your pictures that we're just showing, whether everybody at Google is young.
No, not everyone is young. It has skewed younger for the past 10 years, but now as a lot of us have been around, we're getting older. I would say that the average age at Google is probably around 35, which is quite young comparatively, but we actually have a lot of fun as Googlers, and a lot of groups will form sort of coalitions to do fun things together, and they'll name their things cute names. And one of the some of the older people who work at Google, they have a group called the Greyglers, and they will have fun events together. But yeah, I think the age range is pretty, I think most people who are getting hired in now at the company, we don't have a lot of entry-level jobs, and so you'll see a lot of people in their later 20s coming in as new hires, and then I think probably the average age is, yeah, like I said, somewhere around 35, 40.
Doesn't seem so old when you start to approach those numbers, but you're not getting older, because that would mean I'm getting older since so that's not, we're not going to go down that road. Somebody asks how long you've been working for Google.
I have been at Google for 3.5 years.
Okay.
So until we get another question, I'll talk about the photos I have up on a screen right now. So one of the things that we like to do together is have a lot of fun. We work really closely and collaborate a lot, and so being able to have fun in our jobs is important. So on the left here, you'll see we did a fun run to raise some money, and so a bunch of us drew some t-shirts that gave us a team name, and we all had little pictures of ourselves on them, and then the run got rained out, so we did it anyway in the rain by ourselves, which was fun. And then on the right hand side, every Friday with my team, I will ask them to come up with a theme for Dress Up Friday. So this day was Superhero Day, and we all came in as superheroes. You see that somebody came in as a Ninja Turtle. I came in as Wonder Woman. One of my other friends used his son's Batman outfit to come as Batman, and then a couple other people who hopped in the photo and maybe didn't dress up quite like a superhero, but they had the good spirit instead. Another thing that's really fun about Google that keeps me really motivated is that people are allowed to bring their dogs into the office, and I love dogs. So you can see that's actually one of my friend's puppies who took a nap on my jacket. And probably my favorite benefit to working at Google is they feed us for free. And so we get breakfast, lunch, and depending on the office that you're in, you can also have dinner, which is really nice because we don't have to spend a lot of time outside of the office doing meal planning. And we also, it's very convenient that we can grab lunch together, we can talk over lunch and bond and just have fun. Or, you know, we can continue our conversations and talk about our ideas for the future, and, you know, take that time away from our computers and our desks to really collaborate as teams. And so our cafes is a place where a lot of great ideas have come up.
Somebody wants to know why you discriminate against cats at Google. Just kidding.
That's a good question. I do not know the answer to it, to be totally honest. And trust me, you are not the only one to ask that question. Many other Googlers have asked, and I have a cat and a dog. So me personally, I love them both. Yeah, I don't know. If I find the answer, though, I will be sure to share it with you all. This slide is just to show you an idea of, this is not real data. This is a data set that I downloaded on the internet that's free for use. But I wanted to give you an example of what I do a lot of the time, which is looking at reporting and looking at different columns and putting them into charts and trying to find any sort of interesting data. You can see here that, you know, the margins and the sales have a similar pattern to each other. There's nothing too interesting here, but sometimes you have to look through a lot of data to find the interesting trend lines. So staring at numbers is something I get to do, and I enjoy doing that a lot, actually. And then here's a picture of my shark. I already talked about it, but this is one of the pictures from the trip that I just did with this shark. And I believe this shark's name is Johnny. He's a male shark, and he got a nice snack for swimming by our cages so that we could get a good photo of him for, he'd been a previously identified shark, but it was good to see him back at the island. And Miss Glenn alluded to this before, but I do have a sort of contest for you guys. So the first student who will email me the right answer, and please include your solution. Just remember, you'll have to explain your thinking to your clients, just like I have to do, to this question, and I'll send you a bag of Google swag. So I'll read it out loud for you guys. I'm sure you can see it here. But an advertiser has a marketing budget of $255,000 for December 1st, 2015 through March 31st, 2016. They are planning to give Google 85% of the total budget. If they are able to get an average cost per click of 55 cents, how many clicks can they expect to get by February 15th with Google? So I hope that you guys will try to figure out that problem. And like I said, whoever sends me the right answer first, I will, I'll figure out with Ms. Glenn how to get your information, and I'll make sure that you get a bag with some Google stuff in it.
Absolutely. If you let me know when we have a winner, I'll help you work out the logistics. I have a few more questions that have come in. The first one in the queue is, what are some future plans for your work at Google?
Oh, that's a great question. Here, I'm going to exit out of my presentation here because I finished my slides. What is my plan at Google? So I personally really love telling stories and problem solving for clients. And we have a role at Google that's called you know, I know the acronym and I don't know what it stands for, that's one thing at Google. We have a lot of acronyms for things, but it's called an SDM. And that person gets to focus on research and trends, and then they get to build presentations for big clients and give them really great ideas for how they can partner with Google in their marketing efforts. And so for me, I really want to have that job. And what that means for me now in my role is to find any opportunity I can to work on an SDM project. So one of the things I do with my advertisers now is a lot of them really want people to sign petitions online. And so they'll try to drive traffic to their sites. They'll have a letter that's either written to a governor or a congressperson or the president, and they want to get as many signatures as they can. And we've noticed while running these types of campaigns that some of them are really successful, especially if they're hot news topics, and we get that additional lift in interest from the news organizations. But on the other side, if we don't have that added lift, it's really hard to get the same type of performance. And so what we want to do is try to figure out what is the right media mix, is what we call it. So using YouTube, display, and search, and how much investment you need to really have an impact to get the kinds of results that we want when you don't have those outside influencers helping your campaigns. So that's a project that I'm going to be working on over the next 3 months to try to figure out so that we can make really good recommendations for clients.
Somebody else wants a Google swag bag because they said SDM is a sales development manager.
Oh, thank you. I hope you used Google to find out that answer.
I bet they did. There's another question about what's another nonprofit that you'd like to work with? Like, who's on your wish list that you hope to land?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. Who is a nonprofit that I would like to work with? Let me think about that for a couple of minutes.
I got a couple that you'll know the answer to probably. What did you do before Google?
Before Google, I worked in nonprofits as well as for an advocacy group. So my first job out of college was for the National Organization for Women. And it's a very historical but very small organization that is trying to get equal rights for women, including equal pay, which is a big focus of their work, and also something called the Equal Rights Amendment added to the Constitution. And what I got to do for them was I got to be a press secretary in a lot of ways and a staff photographer. So I got to go to Capitol Hill a lot to press briefings and congressional briefings and take photos of senators and their staff to use for our newsletter. I got to draft a lot of lobbying materials for our board members that they could use when they were trying to influence the people on the Hill to submit and write bills and make change. And I also ran a print publication, which probably no longer exists since most things are going to digital. But back then, we still did a lot of print. And my second job was at a small medical professional society called the American Society for Clinical Pharmacology and Therapeutics. And it was there that I managed the peer review process for a scientific research journal. And I got to work with a lot of doctors who were investigating how drugs might be helpful for people who have different diseases, and what are the negative side effects, and what can they share with the scientific community to try to make sure that we have safer, better drugs for use. After that, I went to graduate school and I got a master's in social work. And then it was after that that I got the call from my friend about the opening at Google, and I came to work for the company. And it's a winding journey. I find that a lot of people I know, their careers are similar, that they kind of find opportunities or they know someone and that person recommends them for a job. And I think it's always good to keep your options open that way and kind of be open to what might be interesting to you for a career.
Okay. Does Google offer reimbursement for college expenses?
Somewhat. If you want to take courses that are related to your job and the role of your current job, then they will cover 100%. If you want to take something just for fun, for educational purposes, when I used to be in our New York office and I was really interested in making jewelry, and I was able to get a percentage of the cost of that reimbursed. Google really does care about helping employees to pursue their passions and be supportive in that way. And so we do have some programs, but there is not an option to fully pay for like grad school, for example. You could probably take like a course here or there. But if you wanted to go back full time, I think that the burden of that cost, unfortunately, would be on the student.
Somebody else wonders, do you know how to code?
I do not, almost at all. I could probably do a very, very basic web page with like a header and some body. I know how to italicize text and bold it, and also change the color of a font, but I do not know that much about coding. It is something that I could take an internal class on to learn more about, though. There's a whole series that's called Eng for Non-Eng, and they will teach you how to use different methodologies to code. It's just not something I've had the time to learn yet.
Okay. We had a couple of people text in because, in all of our preparation, we didn't put a slide with where we'd like the answer to the question emailed.
Oh, yes. Sorry. That was on my very first slide. My email address is hollyholmes@google.com.
Okay. So we can get that back up. I'm getting lots of text message guesses. And I will tell you, I haven't seen a correct answer or one in the ballpark yet.
Okay.
Keep trying, folks. Keep trying. Let's see. See if there are any other questions we haven't hit yet while you're percolating on the next nonprofit you'd like to work with.
Yeah. Wow. That is.
I think I've caught up to all the questions. So now it's all over, but the folks trying to solve your problem.
Yeah, there's a couple of, you have to pay careful attention to how it's written and how you have to splice some of the information that's in there. I don't want to give too many hints about it, but I have confidence that you guys can figure it out. Yeah, so for the nonprofit that I would like to work with, I mean, I personally have a lot of interest with outdoors. And so if I could work with another nonprofit that is focused on marine life and maybe does something that's not shark focused, but maybe focus on orcas or fish populations that are really important to the health of the oceans, I would love to work on that. I obviously did not pursue a scientific career, but it's nice that I can do some things as a hobby, and the data analysis that I do for my job has really lended itself well to be able to give something back to these research organizations that are, doing lots of different things with marine life to make sure that our oceans are healthy. So I don't know if anybody knows of one that might be interesting for me to look at, please email me and I would check it out.
Very cool. I keep in touch with Mrs. Austin, your science teacher. She would love to know that even though you didn't choose to work in the science field, that you maintain a healthy interest in it. Very good. Makes me happy that you use your math as well. So
yes, I use math much more than I use English, and that is the truth. So when you hear people say that you're never going to have to use math again, it's not true. You will have to use it for sure.
I like the thinking, even if folks don't go into a math or science related field, I think that the problem solving and the ways of analyzing situations are always a good fit for students. So
definitely,
very good. Well, I'm just getting a lot of random guesses. Well, not so random. I think there is work to back them up, but nothing that's in the ballpark yet. So keep in mind that to claim the swag bag, you have to submit a correct solution, not just an answer, and it has to go directly to Ms. Holmes. She's the judge who will decide who gets it right. We had a pretty good conversation about the methodology last night. And it's definitely going to come down to how well you support your answer, because depending on your interpretation of the problem, there could be more than one potential solution. So, but right now I don't see anything on the horizon in my text message stream that's looking correct. So double check your thought process. Okay. And if anybody forgets Ms. Holmes' email address, feel free to email Mrs. Glenn at Pasco eSchool. My address is on our school website, so you can find me very easily. And I'll be glad to connect you directly with her if you get a correct answer or a viable solution. She'll be the final judge, but I'm happy to help connect you. I'll just, be jealous of your swag bag. So, well, thank you so much, Ms. Holmes, for taking time out of your day today to share your behind-the-scenes look at Google. We really appreciate it.
Thank you all, and I hope that you have some other great speakers today and you learn some, get some ideas about what careers are out there, what you might like to do, and if you think of any other questions, you have my email, so please reach out to me. I'm happy to answer your questions, and send me those nonprofits. I'll be interested to see what you guys are into as well.
Well, our 3:30 presentation is a marine biologist, so you might want to check that out. And of course, our stuff will be archived on our YouTube channel, so you can watch it from the comfort of your home later. But there might be some causes there that you're interested in, so we'll definitely make sure that you have that info. All right, well, thank you, everyone. We'll let you get back to your day, and don't forget to tune in later this afternoon to check out Rob Cavallero, who is a marine biologist, and we'll be talking about his work with bears and other natural wildlife in his role as a biologist, and we'll definitely make sure that he shares lots of examples of ways that he applies his education and training to contribute to natural conservancy causes. Thanks again.
Cool. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.